audience to welcome our guests and the dignitaries with a huge round of applause. We are truly elated to have the presence of our keynote speakers as the guests today at our university, and would like to welcome them by presenting bouquets as a token of reverence. I request Mr. Akshat Jain, member of governing body, to present the bouquet to Mr. Dhiraj Gyani. Please energize your claps. Thank you so much, sir. I request Professor Raghuveer Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Teerthanker Mahaveer University, to present the bouquet to Mr. Sudhir Zutshi. Thank you so much, sir. Now, to proceed further with the event, I would like to invite Professor R.K. Dwivedi, Director and Principal, Faculty of Engineering and Computer Science, for his welcome address. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Vipin. Good afternoon, everybody. Program is slightly delayed, but don't worry, der aaye durust aaye. It's a famous saying. In continuation of annual lecture series 2022, we have gathered in this auditorium of Teerthanker Mahaveer University, Moradabad. As Dr. Vipin has narrated, the theme of today's panel discussion is Future of Jobs and Technology Platforms. So, on this auspicious occasion, on the behalf of Teerthanker Mahaveer University, Moradabad, and on my own behalf, I would like to welcome Mr. Dhiraj Gyani, Director, Government and Education Engagement, GitHub. Mr. Sudhir Zutshi, Director, Policy and Strategy, South Asia, UL India Private Limited. My sincere welcome goes to Professor Raghuveer Singh ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Teerthanker Mahaveer University, Moradabad. Shri Akshat Jain ji, Member, Board of Governance, Teerthanker Mahaveer University, and the Silpi of this session, who has managed everything, speaker, who has guided, and we are gathered here to be the part of this useful panel discussion. My worthy colleagues, Dr. Aditya Sharma ji, Registrar of Teerthanker Mahaveer University, Director, Corporate Resource Center, Mr. Vineet Nehra ji, other Dean, Directors, Principals, my worthy faculty colleague and coordinator of the event, Dr. Asendra, Mr. Rupal Gupta, Dr. Aditya Jain, and ably supported by the team. Last but not the least, my dear students, I welcome you all in this auspicious gathering at TMU Auditorium. GitHub is known to computer science professionals and engineers because once students are doing their projects, they are using this platform. It allows a real-time collaboration. GitHub encourages teams to work together to build and edit their site content. The parent organization is Microsoft Corporation. And as of now, if I could say, GitHub, because this is very close to the computer science and engineering background and computer professional, this is the platform where the world builds software and maintain millions of developers, in fact, builds, ship, and maintain their software on GitHub. I could say, in fact, the largest and most advanced development platform in the world. If I talk about Indian context, GitHub ropes in Microsoft's Mr. Dhiraj Gyani to lead government and education outreach in India. The world's leading code hosting platform for software development. GitHub has chosen Mr. Dhiraj Gyani. Why? His name reflects many things. Dhiraj is the patience, and Gyani is the blend of vision and wisdom. So, GitHub has given this responsibility to management in India. And I hope by his vision, wisdom, and patience, because this is the triplet bond which is the most cohesive bond, with the help of this, he will certainly do well, and he is leading from the front. Since its acquisition by Microsoft for $7.5 billion in October 2018, their focus is on India. As of now, they have 2 centers. One is at Hyderabad and another one is in Bengaluru. So we welcome you, sir. Our another resource person of this panel discussion is Mr. Sudhir Zutshi. Sudhir leads strategies and initiatives in public and policy regulations. The strategist having a foresight, and I'm sure his dynamic personality will certainly give some insights to our future ready engineers to have something useful and meaningful which might be helpful in their portfolio career management. 3-generation vision and effort is transformed in the form of Teerthanker Mahaveer University. This is the outcome of 3-generation effort. Honorable Chancellor, his worthy son, respected Group Vice Chairman, and 3rd generation, who is present here, Mr. Akshat Jain. So we welcome you, sir, and at first and foremost level, Teerthanker Mahaveer University is committed for humanity is a community with a shared future. At the concept level, the university think tank and strategist believes that only through solidarity and cooperation can universities around the world ultimately leaps of imagination. This punchline, with this concept punchline, our think tank and strategies believes that only through the solidarity and cooperation can universities around the world ultimately create a value in 21st century. And wherein the leaps of imagination may be combined with remarkable fields of engineering and technology, filled with lessons about innovations, character, leadership, and values. Under his supervision, Computer Science and Engineering Department is having one Apple iMac lab, and that was established 2 years back to facilitate research scholars. And Teerthanker Mahaveer University have collaborated with NVIDIA to establish a center of excellence of artificial intelligence-based research. Friends, education leads to the transfer. Technology is the future of education, which is the today's main theme of discussion. And technology is the future of education, and thus key of the transformation is in present education scenario. TMU Moradabad is the first private university in the Delhi NCR region to have a partner with NVIDIA to provide AI solutions to its students and faculty members. Many of us are knowing that one article is published in November 24, 2021 in Opinions that has mentioned the top 5 industry collaboration in India in the year 2021. First one is IIT Madras, with joins up with Taylor and Francis. Another one is IISc Bengaluru with KMBL. Another one is IITR with Mehta Family Foundation. Another one is IIT Delhi with IHFSC. However, these all are the institutions of eminence, but we are also standing with these institutions. Teerthanker Mahaveer University is having technology collaborations with NVIDIA. TMU is also having collaborations with IBM for engineering program, with iNurture and many more. Because time is short, so I'm not going to collaborate all. We all are knowing, in fact, I would like to state from this podium that Teerthanker Mahaveer University is a multidisciplinary university, including medical, engineering, law, pharmacy, management, and many other domains of study. And after having given my thoughtful consideration, I have concluded that transformative and inspiring leadership to lead on ideological grounds and lives among his people and is visionary also will certainly sail this TMU boat effectively in this job market paradigm shift. At last, to stay relevant, you have to shape it or shape out. The mainstream discussion lies on your network is net worth in present scenario and platform to understand portfolio carriers. Our visionary leadership is committed to handle all kinds of situation, and they have proven by managing this COVID-19 pandemic situation, which was one of the unprecedented situation. And I would like to state the vision of 3-generation vision which our leadership is having, that बदलती हैं परिस्थितियां मगर हारेंगे नहीं हिम्मत, सृजन का ये हमारा व्रत चलता रहेगा अनवरत. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for your welcome address and your valuable insights. Today's event will have 2 keynote addresses by our industry stalwarts and a panel discussion followed by question and answer round. So I'm sure our audience will be as excited and as enthusiastic as you have always been. Okay. Moving forward in the event, let me introduce to you the first keynote speaker for the day, Mr. Dhiraj Gyani, Director, Government and Education Engagement, GitHub. He's an electronics engineer and an MBA in international business with over 21 years of experience in advocacy, business development, and marketing. He has been head of enterprise marketing at Microsoft India, wherein he was instrumental in conceiving several out-of-the-box customer-first engagement ideas with strong return on investment and impact. Currently, he leads the education and government engagement at GitHub, the largest and most advanced software development platform in the world, and is also part of the global leadership team at GitHub Education. He has several accolades and honors to his name, including the Microsoft Gold Circle of Excellence Award, and has been awarded the Most Influential Tech Marketer Award by Economic Times in 2020 and 2021. He strongly believes in having an entrepreneurial mindset and credits his success to it. I would like to invite Mr. Gyani to the stage, please. Please, sir.
It's still good morning, right? Good morning, good afternoon, good afternoon. I think that's, firstly, I think apologies on our behalf for being supremely delayed for this session. Had to start at 11:30, I saw all the banners, but yeah, that's the uncertainties of life which we have to face. But I'm so glad to be here. In many ways, this is the first in real life gathering that we are doing after pandemic. Have been doing a lot of virtual sessions, but in real life or in person is after almost 2 years. So really glad to be here at TMU. Extremely, delighted to hear about all the accolades that the university has. We'll be very, very delighted to be part of this. As GitHub, we like to really partner and have many offerings for students, teachers, and everything, which I'll talk later. But I think coming to the topic for today, which is future of jobs and technology platform. Is the presentation there up? Yeah. Very, very interesting topic. In fact, Sudhir and I, both of us go long way back in our professional life. And when we saw this topic, we were discussing that, itna kuch cover karne ke liye, kaise cover karenge? And that's where we decided that, okay, let's split. Some areas I can take what my experience and what my perspective speaks, and then we'll have Sudhir talking about his vision and his thought process around this topic. But if when I want to start, coming up, we always talk about future of jobs. And I think the future is always very distant, because when you reach that stage, the world around you changes. So the key thing that we want to ask, is are you really ready for the real world? And I think this is a question that I used to ask myself when I was in my engineering college, and when especially I was in my 4th year. I used to ask that, okay, what's going to happen? I have been doing well in academics, but when I enter the job world, am I really ready for that experience? And this question का answer बहुत difficult है, because what is real world? I think that's the first question, that when we say real world, what do we mean by that? And in many ways, the last 2 years, the pandemic has given us so much of learning. Especially talking about technology, and I'm guessing a lot of you are from that technology field. When the lockdown happened, I think the only savior, apart from the medications and vaccines, was technology. Because technology was enabling us to continue with our life. Now, whether that is for entertainment, whether it is for, ordering for medicines, even for predicting where are the COVID hotspots, or ultimately for contract tracing apps, where India was leading the world. Now, all this was enabled by technology. And just imagine who was building this technology. There were people who were also in lockdown, who also had family members impacted by everything which is going around the world. But still, all of them came together, rallied with each other, and built those software solutions in like the shortest possible time ever. And I think when we talk about real world, I think we need to be ready for such situations. I'm not saying that this is going to ever happen again. I hope this doesn't happen again. But as students or as teachers, as guides, I think we need to be ready for such difficult situations to come, and for us that we respond to them in a successful way. So I think that's what is real world, and I think all of us need to be ready for such kind of challenges. When we talk about digital transformation, a very famous word right now, everybody uses this. This is the overview of some of the industries where you'll see that digital transformation is disrupting those sectors. There's a very famous thing I'm sure a lot of you have heard about, that automobile industries is hiring the maximum number of technology graduates today. It's not automobile engineers. Technology graduates are being hired by automobile companies. Medical care, it's being disrupted totally. It's now being led by technology. Gone are the days where you really have to be in front of the doctor. I was listening to Dr. Devi Shetty recently. He said now we take decisions which are like impacting, which can impact the human life of that person over a video call, just by looking at all the reports and by talking to that person. So that's the comfort that doctors and patients both have today, thanks to technology. Manufacturing, education, banking, that's the other one which has really, I think, I haven't gone to my bank from years now. But the fact is that while banking is becoming online, it is also becoming safer. It's, I would say, safer and safer day by day. And is becoming far more convenient. So technology is really disrupting. And I'm going to share some statistics in due course. where you'll see that, what's the impact of technology in all of these sectors. Now, coming to the topic of today, future of jobs, and there's a very nice report by World Economic Forums. By World Economic Forum, please do Google it. It's available online, free of cost. And that report has predicted that how jobs are going to change over a period of next 2 or 3 years. And if I just talk about the summary of that report or the key findings. One is, of course, the pace of technology adoption is going to remain the same. We saw during pandemic, the adoption of technology was at the peak. The report says it will remain at the peak. It will continue. And it will further accelerate in some areas. The areas that I spoke about, banking, entertainment, healthcare, automobiles, manufacturing. And Sudhir is going to talk about a lot of those examples today. But yeah, it's going to grow up. The other second point, which is automation. That's going to grow up again. If you talk about, I'm sure you would have heard about robotic process automation right now. There are big companies in India and worldwide who are really automating stuff in a very, very efficient way. The report talks about, and that's not a great finding, but it says that during COVID pandemic, there was obviously a drop in jobs. A lot of jobs got redundant. And when we have more and more automation coming up, again, there is a redundancy in the jobs. But the opportunity for all of us is to find the right jobs. And that's what we'll talk about later today. That find the right jobs in future of job is much more hybrid. It's much more remote. It's much more flexible. So I think as a skill, we'll also have to ensure that, we are ready for that kind of scenario. Online learning, of course, no doubt about it. I'm sure, all of you have experienced that the online learning mode for a few years and few months. But that's going to be a reality now. We see all the top universities in the world, in India, everywhere, are now becoming hybrid, are now really focusing on online learning. So that's going to be a reality. Upskilling and reskilling, I spoke about that. And finally is redefining performance measurement. A lot of us, including myself, when we had the lockdown, all of us, GitHub comes in. And I'll talk shortly or briefly about GitHub. But the trend today is, and especially for all you technology folks, is that today almost 80 to 90% of software is using open source. And I hope that all of you have heard about open source, you have learned, you have tried, you have experienced what is open source software development. Because the fact is today, I can say as GitHub, and if I just talk about India, but the fact is all key banks, not only in India, worldwide, use open source software, somewhere or the other. I have another example. So recently, if you have heard about Ingenuity helicopter, which is a helicopter, the first helicopter which flew to Mars by NASA. Now, as GitHub, we saw that there was a repo of NASA. NASA has a lot of software development which happens on GitHub. And they had a software up and, a lot of, people like you, everybody was sort of contributing to that software. And they didn't know what's happening. And they were just contributing. There was a full details available and people were contributing. And finally, NASA declared that that software was being built for actually which was going to control that helicopter's flight to Mars. And nobody knew when they were contributing it. And finally, when everything happened, NASA and GitHub, we had a badge for all those people who had contributed to that software. And we had a badge for them. So now their profile has that special recognition badge that I have contributed to the flight to Mars. Now imagine that's the power of open source software development. Nobody knows कि हम कर क्या रहे हैं, but just because of the passion, just because of the knowledge, just because they want to contribute back, they keep on doing it. And that's how the whole software development world is evolving today. And as I said, that's the statistics. 80 to 90% software is using open source. So I think that's the other skill that all of you really need to master somewhere. The other topic, which is, and I think the last topic is all about customer. And we all, talk about in multiple ways about being customer first, being customer obsessed. And this is where some statistics are there. It says that, customer experience is a new battleground. And all of us have seen so many technology startups today. The same taxi service that we used to call from our neighborhood or from, known operators, today we use technology and we get a cab right at our doorstep. We talk about food delivery services. So many services have been disrupted because of technology. But what's the end goal is all about customer experience. As a customer, if I'm happy with that digital experience, with the whole experience of what I have ordered, I am happy and I will continue with that tech platform. So the report says that the CX leaders, like customer experience leaders, the companies who lead that, have a 32% additional stock price growth on the stock markets. And then it's higher than the customer experience laggards. So clearly, you will see that customer experience is, again, one of the most important areas where you have to really focus upon. Some more, where how industry leaders and digital disruptors, they are 3x faster when they are shipping and learning faster. So again, mobile app ratings are far more higher when you have a better customer experience. All of us know, we go and rate apps which have a better experience with us. So ultimately, if I want to sort of wrap up my key learnings from what we spoke, the fact is that on the heart or the core of everything is all of you, is the developer, is the person who's building that technology, who's creating that innovation. So whatever we do, whether it is being customer obsessed, whether it is shipping and learning faster, reskilling and upskilling ourselves, but ultimately it's all human. And there are a lot of doubts that people have that, okay, AI aane wala hai, is my job going to be insecure? GitHub recently launched a program which is called Copilot. I don't know if you have heard about it. Copilot is a ability where when you are coding on GitHub, there is AI which is coding with you, which is your Copilot. When you're flying. So if you are there, you are part of these companies because all their softwares is available on the platform as well. The education part of GitHub, and that's what I lead, is very simple. Our objective is that we want to be the home for all student developers or all future developers. And that's where we have a lot of tools, a lot of teaching aids, a lot of platforms that we give at no cost to everybody. And these are not only GitHub tools, these are third-party software that is required by a student developer. So let's say when you are developing or when you're coding, and you want to create a website, what is the first thing that you'll need? You'll probably need to register a domain name. So you go to GitHub, you will have multiple partners who will give you free domain name registration. Then you'll say, okay, I'll need cloud because I want to save my website or somewhere. You have cloud credits by Microsoft, by DigitalOcean, by Amazon. Everybody will give you cloud credits at no cost. Then you say, okay, I want to develop a gaming software. I want to develop something nice. You have free Unity, which is one of the best game software development tool. So all this is part of GitHub Student Developer Pack. Use it at no cost. Then comes mentoring and guidance. And that's where the community on GitHub comes into play. So let's say I have the tools now, I have training and I have knowledge. Now I want to leverage the power of community. So you go and let's say I want to develop a game. Can somebody guide me? I'm stuck here. You have campus experts, you have campus advisors, you have lots of passionate volunteers who will work with you to build that technology, to build that software. And finally, we want to really bring you closer to industry, and that's where we offer internship programs. Please do find all these details on the website. I'll not take much of your time, but there are internship opportunities that GitHub offers to our partner institutions in India, and these are paid internship opportunities. We would love to have TMU students as part of that program, and I'll definitely make sure that when I walk out, we have that partnership closed. As I said, it's no cost, but students get paid for that internship opportunities. Do Google GitHub externship program, and you'll find all the details. This is the student developer pack. I'll skip this, but yeah, this is the war room which was set up by Government of India to monitor COVID hotspots. And imagine this was developed by a student in India using the GitHub Student Developer Pack. And this is the live page that you can see. Everything was there. That person was it was taking API data from various information sources, and then they were sort of projecting that these are the possible COVID hotspots, and that is what Government of India used. So, you could be the next one probably creating or developing something like this. Externship, as I said, you please have a look at the website, and we'll make sure that all of you are eligible for that. Finally, I want to sort of wrap up my last 2 slides. And then, of course, we'll have Sudhir, and then we'll get into a very interesting panel, and I hope to have some good questions from all of you. When we talk about skilling, reskilling, and upskilling, I wanted to show my career graph with all of you. I started, as I said, as Honorable Director said, that I did my engineering in electronics and digital communications from BITS. My first job was not tech job. My first job was in international trade consulting. I was training and consulting people in exports. I used to come to Moradabad so often at that point of time. But I was training and consulting in international trade. My next job, and that's where Sudhir and we were together, was in food processing sector, and I was handling industry affairs for that sector. So basically, the laws were being established in the country at that point of time, and we used to work with Pepsi, Nestle, small food processing companies. That was what I was doing. Then I got into policy advocacy and government affairs. Then I got into project management, which was primarily into infrastructure, and then technology came into my career. And then finally I came to Microsoft, and I was doing marketing, which was nothing to do with what I have done in my past. And right now I'm doing education for GitHub. Now, with about 22 years of experience, imagine after every 3 years, I have been changing my sector. I have been changing my job function completely. So just keep this thought in your minds. And when we'll answer some of your questions, ensure that you don't get stuck somewhere. You are always upgrading yourself, and you're always sort of reinventing and making yourself, and coming up with a new avatar of yourself. And this is my last summary slide. My 4 top recommendations to all of you. First is always continue experimenting and exploring. Don't stop anywhere. Always keep that, utsukta and jagrukta in your mind, and continue doing that. And ultimately own the outcome, because it's always easy to, just do experimentation and exploring. But you have to ensure that you're owning the outcome. And that outcome could also be a failure. It's not a problem that you have to always succeed. But own that failure also, because when you own that failure, you learn. And then you probably will succeed next time for sure. So that's my first, recommendation to you. Be customer obsessed, as we saw some of those statistics. If you're not customer obsessed, it will have no outcome. You'll be doing everything for yourself. So it doesn't make anything. So whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are a career professional, customer obsessed is the center of everything. Collaborate and don't reinvent the wheel. And this is what I learned from GitHub, open source software development. If you want to develop a Uber app, or you want to do something better than a Uber or a Ola app, you don't have to develop that app from the scratch. वो सब कुछ आपको बहुत जगह मिल जाएगा, GitHub पे मिल जाएगा, अलग जगह मिल जाएगा. You have to add value to that. So don't start from the scratch. There is a lot of information available in the world. Use that and build on top of it. So don't spend time reinventing the wheel. Those days are gone. Now add value to what is already available. And finally, as I said, skilling is important, learning is important, knowledge is most important. But I think the critical factor, as I said, for the 4th time, is reskilling and upskilling yourself. And the last important thing is also unlearning. And sometimes you have to do that. When you learn and when you want to do something new, you have to unlearn a lot of those things. So reskilling, upskilling, and unlearning. Keep that skill always with you. And I'll end here, and happy to take more questions as part of our panel. Thank you.
That was quite an, and your views were quite ensnaring. Are you ready for the real world? That was the question that Mr. Gyani left us all with. And I think in an era where world, that was the question that Mr. Gyani left us all with. And I think in an era where innovation are being envisioned as the keys for success, being tech illiterate will definitely prove to be a challenge. So thank you so much, Mr. Gyani. I request the audience to... Next, we are also honored to have with us Mr. Sudhir Zutshi. He's the Director, Policy and Strategy, UL India Private Limited. He has more than 19 plus years of experience covering sales, strategic planning, business development, and policy, advocacy, and regulations. He holds an honors degree in food technology and a master's degree in marketing and international business. He's a member of South Asia Leadership Team and has had responsibility as General Manager for Consumer Business in South Asia. He has also worked with Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry as Deputy Director and Direct Sales. Mr. Zutshi represents UL at important work and industry forums in sectors.
He said, sir, ho gaya, 2-3 saal ho gaya. And he was super damn knowledgeable about the whole stuff. I can tell you. He knew everything and he knew what's the problem. I can tell you this, his engineers, level 1, level 2, level 3 engineers, usse baat kar raha tha. He told me, sir, isme ye problem hai. And I was completely zapped by his knowledge. And I asked him, what do you want to do? Abhi to aap young ho, he must have been around 18, 19 years or 20 years. I said, what do you want to do after this? Bolta, sir, main na cyber security expert banna chahta hu. I said, cyber security expert? What does that mean? I said, aap padhte kahan ho? Kaise padhte ho? How do you do that? He said, sir, मैं Google पे YouTube के through courses करता हूँ रात को, दिन में नौकरी करता हूँ. And he goes and attends all the calls. That small town guy's father must not be even knowing what his child is doing. And do you know what he's doing right now? He has qualified cybersecurity courses online. And he has been recruited in the same company. And that's the beauty of education. That's the beauty of dedication. So that's why I'm saying it doesn't matter what qualification you have. It only matters what you can do with the qualification. Sometimes we also say, हमारे टाइम में, अब तो हमारे बाल भी सफ़ेद हो गए. हमारे बाल भी सफ़ेद हो गए. Sometimes what we used to say, कि हमारे टाइम में इतनी opportunities नहीं थी. You guys are exposed to the world because social media is so great, everything is available. Everything is available on social media or internet or YouTube, whatever you want to say. So we make these excuses, and I think Dr. Dwivedi did mention about these are institutions of eminence. Well, every institute is an institute of eminence. Who makes an institution of institute? It is the students and the faculty. Who makes this, any institution? It's not about the infrastructure. It's about the quality of education. It's about the quality of students you churn out. And आप students के ऊपर बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है इस institution को एक next level पे पहुंचाना. Because that defines your career. That defines your career path. So that's very, very important. And therefore we say, we didn't get opportunities, हमारे पास वो नहीं मिला, we will have excuses. But that's, let me tell you honestly, it's all farce. There is nothing like excuses. Excuses doesn't work. If you have excuses in life, मुझे ये नहीं था, then I didn't have that, उसकी वजह से मैं ये नहीं बीमार हो गया, मेरे को ये हो गया. There are ample number of examples where people have done wonders. Now, Dhiraj mentioned about his career path, and I'm sure we are going to be grilled by the Honorable Vice Chancellor when we'll have a panel discussion here. I'm already getting nervous. I don't know what kind of questions he's going to throw on us, but yes, we'll figure this out. But the point here is, we were talking today about the technology session. And now I'm coming to the substance. We were talking about the technology session. We're talking about coding. But when Dhiraj and me were discussing about it, we also understand there are people who are from different streams, maybe. I mean, some people are working chemical, some people are working mechanical, some people are working in doing a course in, electronics and telecommunications. But I think if you see people who have moved through careers, if you have to really define your career path, you have to define it today. That will change. आज मैं अगले 5 साल तक मुझे कहाँ जाना है वो आज ही डिसाइड कर लीजिए. I'm telling you. Forget about those days कि अब देखूंगा what is happening. People are literally thrown into careers. बेड़ चाल हो गई है. मुझे computer science लेने को everybody has to go to computer science. Why not? Why other areas? I'm going to come to that also. Can you contribute to other areas? Can you contribute to other areas? And before I come to that slide, somebody said, yeah, this guy is from UL. You know, sometimes, what is this UL India? Is this Unilever? Is this UL? And in Germany, people say UL. So I will speak whatever I speak on behalf of my own self. The company which I'm working for has got no relationship what I'm going to share today. So I'm making it completely personal because that's my base, my competence. But I thought I will give a little brief about Underwriters Laboratories. It's a 120-year-old organization based in Chicago. And safety science company, mission-driven organization. We work across multiple industries, 35, 40 industries, and we do test, inspect, and certify products. But if you see, for an example, if you have a laptop and a power cord, if you see a lithium-ion battery, sometimes you'll say UL circle. It's a safety mark. So it goes on 30 billion products all across the world. So that's what we do, safety, testing, inspection, certification. And there's a tremendous opportunity in that area also, which I have also talked in my slides when people go into those areas. Now let me come directly to this example. Not showing. Okay, yes, it is there. Okay. Okay. So sometimes I'm not here to only talk. I just want to maybe randomly, can somebody tell me what is smart? Anybody? What is smart? How do we define a smart technology? Anybody? Your techies. Any definition. Doesn't need to be a book which is written, or somebody has written in a book, smart is this, smartphone is this, smart. Yes, the girl out there, yes. You're a technical graduate. Can you define me in terms of how technically you'll say a smartphone? If I say a smart refrigerator, what does this mean? That's why it is smart. Anybody else? Yes? Okay. Taken? Anybody else? Yes? It's able to understand our requirements. Nobody is wrong. Every definition is in. Anybody else? Yes, the young lady out there. Okay? Multiple definitions. My colleague did speak about fuel cells, he talked about hydrogen, he talks about energy storage, and there's a lot of impetus. And now you have US students need to understand where the trends are going, where the market is growing. And that point comes to what Dhiraj mentioned about upskilling. Is this basic education of getting a BTech degree enough for you to get into that market? Honestly speaking, I don't know. Let me talk about digitization, because there's a lot spoken about digitization. There's a lot happening in the payment security domain. Payment security domain, there are multimodal cards which are being used right now, and multimodal cards, India still is evolving. Now, what are those multimodal cards? You use that chip card, you can use it in train, you can use that in bus, you can use that. But what goes behind that card is a phenomenal amount of data. We need the security of that data. And therefore, there's a need for a lot of payment security experts, the product designers, who can ensure that the data is kept secret. The data is not tampered. I can tell you, and I know you know it, there is, because right now the Googles of the world are things and all that, what we will be speaking sometimes is, yeah, we already know it, but then we have to reinforce it. If you all have your mobile Google locations on, go to Google and track. It will tell you in the last 1 month where you have gone. And what's it? You are leaving data, footprints. And that is the data is the new oil. And that acts as a data to whosoever product companies who want to sell. Ab dekhiye, the moment you search for anything related to, say for example, you want to search for toys, or you are searching for, say for example, a medical device, you will be bombarded within next 24 hours by ads. Who's working on the backside? There is some virtual guy, jisko hum dekh hi nahi pa rahe hain, he is tracking all your data prints. So sometimes from a security reason, honestly speaking, I'll always keep my location off. And you will be amazed, jiske bhi location on hai, aap dekhiye, you will see that data is being, but see, at the end of the day, that data is being used. Some use it for good purposes, some use for bad purposes. And that's why the cybersecurity is the key. And I will tell you, there are opportunities in the cybersecurity space, phenomenal amount. I can tell you, few of my colleagues are interviewing people from prestigious institutions in this country. I don't want to name, but we are not getting the best of the best cybersecurity experts. Because you need to qualify yourself from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. And those examinations are online. And we need those cybersecurity experts who are highly qualified to do testing, penetration testing of those products where there's a lot of data issues. And every company nowadays is facing those data issues. And you will see laws are becoming more stringent for data privacy, and that creates opportunities. And some of you might want to get into cybersecurity space also. And for that, we'll have to do courses. You need to be a certified professional for cybersecurity courses. There are companies who run these courses. You can't get into that. Let me talk about sustainability also. There's a lot happening in sustainability space. And I will talk about where the environmental engineers have a strong role to play. There's a tremendous opportunities in that space as well. India is a delivery hub. I think Dhiraj did talk about you. You will be amazed, earlier what we used to say, that, well, India is a low-cost, hub. Everybody used to say, because for the cost, let the delivery. What we used to do earlier, we used to do, there's not really white-collar jobs or blue-collar, there were less semi-skilled jobs where Indians were. But let me tell you, nowadays, most of the companies want Indians, not because it's a low-cost center, but because they are getting highly skilled people. I can tell you, in several companies, we are hiring people, giving them more salaries than what we have given people in abroad. That's the beauty and some of the skilled people we are getting from India. And that's the opportunity. And it's not about people only from institutes of eminence, the people from different institutions. But again, the bottom line, how much you have put into it. So India is definitely going to become a delivery, high-skilled jobs. Engineers who are working on power plants, all the way remotely assessing the performance of power plants, wind turbines, offshore wind turbines, and it's all about data analytics. यहाँ बैठ के, power plant US में है, power plant Germany में, and because see, technology is there, data, I don't need to go physically there, that's what COVID has taught us. We don't need to be virtually there, physically there, but virtually you can do that. And what I am doing, we are brilliant engineers here, we are brilliant techies here. हमारा दिमाग बहुत तेज चलता है Indians का, let me tell you, we are very we should be proud about it. But हम कभी-कभी गलत डायरेक्शन में यूज करते हैं, राइट डायरेक्शन में यूज करते नहीं, चैनलाइज नहीं करते इस चीज को. That's the problem. And we are so brilliant in doing this, and it's all about data analytics, and we are serving. And the whole world is wanting that, yes, we want to hire engineers from India. Healthcare system, he talked about. It's a tremendous amount of, manufacturing, or I would say, it is, see, healthcare is any healthcare device for that matter. And I'll also give an example of how artificial intelligence comes into healthcare. A radiologist, if he leverages artificial intelligence, the amount of error, see, it is bound, a human nature. You can make errors while reading an X-ray or a CT scan. There's possibility. Always, you cannot be 100% sure. But if you use an artificial intelligence, the risk of minimizing that error goes significantly down. There are studies just happen. So imagine how a medical science and an artificial intelligence can marry together and contribute to the healthcare sector. So that's why, how radiology, I understand you also have a medical students also how radiologists can contribute, work with a computer science engineer or any artificial intelligence expert and sort of work together and see how things can move. Similarly, there are multiple examples in the medical devices space. I can talk about, and one more example is, आपने वो देखा होगा जो puff लेते हैं. There are a lot of people who are asthmatic. Normally they take puffs. आप लोगों ने कभी imagine किया है, Japanese का हाथ जो छोटा होता है. See, here comes the beauty of the engineers. It's not about मुझे सिर्फ medicine देना है. It is the pharmacist or a pharmaceutical company who will work in turn with a functional engineer who is going to see, okay, Japan में जो है, the moment, because the medicine has to go completely into the lungs. That is what a device is supposed to deliver. It is supposed to give the medicine straight into the lungs. It is not that कि मैंने ऐसे किया तो मुंह में रह गया. So Japanese have the small hand, Indians have a different hand, and that's why they figure out they do permutation, combination, and that's how the device is designed. And imagine the world where a biomedical engineer, and that's where biomedical engineers have a lot of opportunities to work through. And that's how the devices are manufactured. Since the medical devices are going to grow, imagine where the opportunities will come. New technologies, drones. Now drones ने आपने बहुत कुछ सुना होगा. There's a lot which is happening in the drone space. And I don't know how many people are interested in drones. Everything is going to go with drones. I mean, you see, Ministry of Home is looking for drones all across. Agriculture, they are saying, applications of drones. But then, a drone has got it has a battery inside. It has got electrical circuiting inside. It has got a lithium-ion battery. And lithium-ion battery is the highest density. That's why we use lithium-ion battery. We use different chemistries for energy storage. But then lithium-ion battery, because of its economies of scale, or we say because the cost has come down, we use, and the energy density is very high. That's why we use lithium-ion batteries. But then, if it is not safely manufactured, and you have seen what's happening these days, OLAs and all, recall is happening. So there comes the role of the engineers. The last one is infrastructure, and there's a lot happening in the infrastructure space also. And civil engineers, I definitely feel there are a lot of opportunities in the space as well. Now I'll close in another 2 to 3 minutes, but I just wanted to see, I've already mentioned about in case there's a lot of opportunities which might come, and it's not about manufacturing of solar modules. There's a lot of electronics within those solar modules as well. And we are talking about crystalline and thin film technologies. It's all about how do we increase the efficiency of these solar cells so that we are able to produce more energy. They're able to get more insulation, more energy comes. And that's a lot which is happening in this space. But then there's also a work which is happening on these power plants all across the country, where there's a lot of work for engineers in terms of performance of these power plants, analysis of the data, what's happening, and how do we improve the efficiency of these power plants. And same is for the wind. And medical devices also mentioned about. What I feel that there are ample opportunities in this space, whether it is securities or software development. Dhiraj already mentioned about that coding. But I also feel that there are opportunities in the environmental engineering space. There are opportunities in safety engineering as well. Now this is an area nobody has explored. What is the safety engineering of it? There are needs for safety engineers, not only from the fire safety engineer standpoint, but also from the whole occupational safety standpoint, if you're working in a big manufacturing plant, you need experts as safety engineers. And of course, in other areas where there are opportunities. Before I stop here, I just always want to leave with you, the more you sweat in peace, the less you'll bleed in war. The more you sweat here in this campus, the less you'll bleed outside. Thank you very much.
So please, thank you, Mr. Zutshi. I request you to take a seat on the dais, sir, for the panel discussion. That was quite an enthralling session, sir. Mr. Zutshi mentioned that your degree is just a piece of paper. It is your skills and your abilities that count. And it is your skills and your abilities that make you the Satya Nadella of Microsoft, the Sundar Pichai of Google, and the Narendra Modi of India. So thank you so much, sir. I request the audience to clap for Mr. Zutshi. And for the panel discussion, I would also like to request Mr. Gyani and Professor Raghuveer Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Teerthanker Mahaveer University, to take a seat on the dais. Just a brief introduction of Professor Raghuveer Singh. He is an award-winning pioneer in the field of education, academia, and research, with more than 25 years of teaching, research, and administrative experience. And he believes in a process-driven approach to strategy execution for the desired results. Currently, under his able leadership, the university has successfully ventured into outcome-based education, which is a recent trend in the field of education. I welcome all the dignitaries to the dais. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to kindly lead the discussion from here. Please, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are wake up. Thank you. We've been through a wonderful session. They have taken you through the entire spectrum of technology development, and how it is going to shape our life. They also told you in uncertain terms that you got to remain, wake up all through your career. Learning will never stop. You know, I remember our days when we got a job, the first thing we used to say, ab padhna nahi padega. So those days have gone completely. Abhi padhna hi padhna padega aage. So don't hesitate from it. And the final word, you know what he said? The more you sweat in peace, less you bleed in war. It's very, very true for all of us in this age. They've taken us through the entire spectrum, how technology is actually shaping and changing our life. The way technology has changed in last 10 years has not changed in last 50 years. And future, we don't know how much it will change. I remember in 80s, there was a great writer called Alvin Toffler. I don't know whether you all have had your any readings of third wave and fourth wave. If you read those books, those days, they predicted that cars would fly, doctors would operate from distant places, and they said cars would run their own self. And we used to imagine what nonsense he's talking about. And all that is reality now. And in future, you know, nothing is impossible. Let me say this. And who are behind them? You youngsters, each one of you. Both of our guest speakers, if you trace their, career, it indicates the gap between technology and non-technology disciplines is actually reducing. And it will continue to reduce. That means in future, there will be none in education institutions without studying technology. And all those who are going to be there in technology domain have to study all other domains as well. So you all know that we have put in our curriculum a cross-disciplinary or a multidisciplinary approach. And both of them, indicated that you cannot survive without multidisciplinary approach. Because no problem on the earth exists in isolation or a single dimension. He gave example, Mr. Zutshi gave you example. If you want to solve any problem in life, you need to have a understanding of multiple disciplines. If you want to say, for example, if you want to be an environmental scientist, you can't get away only studying environmental engineering. You have to study economics. You have to study management. You have to study technology. You have to study law. Right? So, this is what emphasizes today, that don't be under impression that I'm a computer science student, why I'm being burdened with all these kinds of questions. Right. Now, I would rather first give you chances to each one of you. Ask questions which you have in your mind. I would rather sit back and ask questions in the last. So, any questions in your mind, anything related to your career, how do you study, what you study, right, and what holds for your future, please come up. And I generally see the girls are more smarter. They generally ask questions. Boys, you have to wake up.
मार्केटिंग में एक कहावत है,
Thank you.
जो दिखता है वही बिकता है.
क्योंकि लड़कियां ही दिखती हैं क्वेश्चन पूछते हुए, इसलिए उन्हीं का नाम आता है. Very good.
I want to reverse that question. Our real world is ready for us. So, just world is going through recession, as we have seen the example of Singapore. Small countries are facing lots of changes due to pandemic and wars during these periods. So, how IT industry is looking for it? How they are preparing for futures?
Yeah, Akshat, great question.
Yes, sir.
So I think what is IT? If you notice what IT has done for the world, IT has basically found opportunities or found problems and then build solutions for that. So often we say as tech professionals कि हम है ना गलतियां ढूंढ रहे हैं, हम problems ढूंढ रहे हैं world में because we want to solve them. So that is what is technology and IT. So unless there is no problem, there won't be a solution. So your question is right. The world is absolutely ready for us. And that's where you see the wonderful kind of innovation that is happening around the world. That is being done by all of us. And when we find problems, when we see there is a recession, we come out with solutions which takes up that recession up also. So when there is a problem, there is a solution. So that's what is going to be my short answer. Unless, Sudhir, you want to add something?
Now, so आपने जो क्वेश्चन पूछा, आपने बोला कि is world ready for us? So see, when we look at the world, COVID आ गया. COVID has changed the whole everybody's life. I will see it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. The question which you mentioned कि companies तो हमारे लिए ready है या नहीं है? That means do you mean to say that हमारे लिए opportunities है या नहीं है? Or what's your question? Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything that we need to change right now?
Okay, so it's a. I'm sure Honorable Vice Chancellor will have its own comment because he has got this, I would say, much more holistic way of looking at world, because I always have a great respect for academicians, let me tell you, because they read more than us. But let me tell you, what are you looking at? You're saying the whole world inflation is there. Do you think 30 years back it was not there? COVID is there. Have you seen about when Spanish flu happened? When 100 years back the same situation happened? I think the question what you are saying, it's valid, but I think we can't be fighting or boil the whole ocean. If you are going to boil the whole ocean, then you will never get any clarity. Inflation is happening, it will happen. So are you going to do anything about it? Am I going to do? No, that's what somebody else has got the responsibility. You as a student right now, or you as a graduate, what do you want when you are going out? You are looking at inflation हो रहा है, ये सारी चीजें हो रही हैं, वो तो होता रहेगा. It's not that कि, and honestly speaking, if I am giving an answer, doesn't mean I know all the answers. And if I don't answer, I will say I don't know the answer. It's as simple as that. इसमें कोई शर्म की बात नहीं है कि मेरे पास सारे answers होंगे. It's as we must be we should have that much of humility to say yes, I don't know the answer. But what the question which you are asking in terms of कि inflation हो रहा है, महामारी हो रही है, वो भी हो रही है. But I can give you an example. In this Mahamari only, there have been businesses which have done phenomenally well. As a CEO of a company, if I have got 3 or 4 businesses to look after, and then one of my businesses is doing great, other businesses is not doing good, what will I do? I'll have to shut something. I'll have to take certain decisions. I can't be bleeding a business and then saying, well, everything is hunky-dory, and then, मेरे को कुछ करना नहीं है. So, to your point, if you are thinking big, that's fine, but I think let's not boil the ocean. Let's focus on a problem, what you can solve, what you as an engineer can solve, rather than what Modi ji can do, or what other can do. A vice chancellor has got a bigger, larger university macros, he has to look for the entire university. Whereas as a departmental director, somebody has to look at that. So if everybody understands his responsibility, what he has to do, we can make a world better place. And you will be able to figure out that opportunities rather than boiling the whole ocean.
I think just to sort of paraphrase again what I said. So for example, you said inflation is there in Singapore. Now, and again, I'll bring tech for a solution. So let's say, you go into details of why there is inflation or why there is economic downturn in a specific country. You'll see that, okay, maybe there's a food shortage. Now there is technology solutions which can actually not only predict that there could be a food shortage solution, or there could be an inflation, or there could be a decline in something. You are predicting it. And then you have the opportunity to solve that problem also. Now, which is, thanks to globalization, thanks to boundaries being removed. So there are opportunities to again solve those problems using technology and using all the latest things that you're happening. So always keep your mind to find the solutions. Problem हमेशा रहेंगी, but वो भी एक opportunity है. So that's the, I'll give you that answer.
I'll add a little bit to it. To your question, the world is ready. Yes. World is ready for you. No. Both. Yes. Let me first come to yes. See, look at how companies are changing their HR policies, because unfortunately, I know none of them are from HR. So let me add from my side. Look at how you and individuals, are there. See, there used to be a living wages. That means, as an employee, I just wanted wages enough for my living. Then came the time of standard of living. That means you wanted to have everything what a good life should be. Whether it's a car, refrigerator, whatever you wanted a home. All that is now past for most of the people. Now, the social changes have happened in such a way that today people are talking about lifestyle. If I want to go to a company, I want to live a lifestyle. So the HR is bringing changes in their policies. Maybe they will allow you to work from home. They will allow you the flexi times. They will allow you project-based work, etc., etc. Okay? They all are doing it. So they are ready for your requirement, because they know that unless otherwise these changes are brought, the retention will not be there. There will be very high attrition rates. That's number one. Number two, see, look at in life, there are I say very simply, there are controllables in life, there are non-controllables. So whatever is happening beyond you, over which you have no control, are non-controllables. Right? And you know what is controllable for you. So you concentrate on controllables, forget about worrying of non-controllables. Most of us, unfortunately, are putting a lot of time and effort thinking about and doing about non-controllables, which is impossible. As he said, inflation will happen, wars would happen, COVIDs would happen, all those things would happen. But how are you prepared for that? How technology would help you that? So remember that thing, okay? Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is, what are the domain knowledge, as you are the industry expert, are required from the students for hiring? Shall I repeat?
No, I got the question.
Okay.
We were deciding who should answer. I'll give you my perspective. And I think, so one is, of course, it depends a lot on what we are hiring for. For example, is it a tech job or a non-tech job or whatever. But even let's say if I give you my own personal experience, even if it's a tech job, I still emphasize a lot on softer skills. Because I think, the tech understanding is constant. If you know a language, if you know coding, if you know how to build algorithms, that will remain always constant. What differs with all of us is the soft skills, our attitude, our behavioral, how do we handle those situations? How do we handle tough situations? So I think, and you'll see a lot of interviews today are focusing on that aspect. So the first round is always, okay, do the tech, pass, fail, whatever. But now let's start getting into the softer aspects. And I personally believe a lot in that. I think we have seen that knowledge and skills can be imparted, but the softer skills are very difficult to change. So I think that's where you should focus. That's what I look after for every individual.
So beta, I'll just give you building on what Dhiraj said, and it's very, very important for each one of you. Attitude determines your altitude. And most of the companies nowadays, and most of the multinationals, even for that matter, the best of the companies in India, or if you want to be an entrepreneur for that matter, let me tell you, what would believe that अगर किसी बंदे को हम hire कर रहे हैं, and I'm emphasizing किसी को भी हम hire कर रहे हैं, हम लोग अगर उसको technical know-how इतना नहीं आता, which is fine because we can skill him, we can train him, but if his attitude is, because he becomes a toxic, if a toxin is there, we'll try to remove the toxin because we don't want to impact the rest of the members within the company or the team who is there. So toxic has also always to be removed. And therefore, my only request to you would be humility, attitude. Attitude doesn't mean that you have, कि मैं कोई confidence से बोल रहा है इसमें attitude है. Not that. Attitude is always, you don't want to learn, you just want to impose your things. And attitude of collaboration. See, what Dhiraj said, I'll tell you, and the Honorable Vice Chancellor is also here. In HR, we always have this appraisal system. We have got, that's called critical behaviors of success. It shows, are you good in teamwork? Are you good in collaboration? Are you good in initiative taking? Can you take a decision? Can you take initiatives? And you are basically, उस पे आपका career depend होता है. Let me tell you today, अगर आप कितनी भी brilliant engineer है, because आप start करते हैं test engineer, technical engineer, or a engineer, whatever. It doesn't matter what sometimes different designations are given. जब आप grow करेंगे, by the age 24, 25, company wants you to grow ना. Company wants you to give ample opportunities to you. आप 5 साल तक आप में कोई changes ही नहीं है. They will say, boss, he's a burden on us. I want to throw him out. You have to have different skill sets. Now you are an engineering manager. You have to manage the team. You have to manage the projects. And I'm telling you, आज हम आपको ये ज्ञान इसलिए दे रहे हैं, अगर हमारे टाइम में भी किसी ने इतना बहुत closely दिया होता ना ज्ञान, we would have done somebody else. I'm telling you, we still have a long way to go. I was telling to Dhiraj, at the crossing 40 and बाल सफेद हो गए, यार बहुत कुछ करने के लिए था, हमें तो अभी तो कुछ किया ही नहीं. That is the important. Attitude determines your altitude. Thank you.
Let me add to this. You would be happy to know that when you look at our curriculum, we have put in holistic education in our university, right? We are thinking to move from academics to education. Unfortunately, over a period of time in our country, education was given a bypass surgery, right? And what was emphasized was academics, that is a degree. The difference between the two is you are being put through a process where there are a large number of restrictions in terms of curriculum, content, examinations, everything. So education is not restricted to the class alone. Education can be had from anywhere, outside the class, with the friends, your relatives, in the market, and wherever you can observe. So that's our effort. So we put it in the 3 domains, and my students would vouch for it. First one, we call it cognitive. That is your thinking. Your thinking. And not only lower order thinking, higher order thinking. That is not about understanding concepts, about applying them, analyzing them, and evaluating. Using a Bloom's taxonomy, we call it technique. Second most important is your soft skills or people skills. You all have to go soft skills program. But I'm, really put off that good number of, don't put in a lot of efforts in, because you have been told, and it's been emphasized by both our professionals, how important is the soft skills. The third one is psychomotor skills, that is ability to do. All these 3 things are part of our curriculum. Now, as a professional, irrespective of what you choose, there are 3 important skills required from entry level to the topmost. Right? The first one is your technical skill, second is your people skill, and third is your conceptual skill. The amount of skill required will depend upon where are you operating from. So as a entry level, you would have most important technical skills. As you grow in ranks, as you already, told by Mr. Dhiraj, as you grow in your ranks, the importance of technical skills will be keep lowering, and the important conceptualization skill. Conceptualization skill क्या है? How do you look at the business? What impacts the business? What are government policies? वो आप top position में जब पहुंचेंगे तब. But इसका idea आप जैसे जैसे मूव करते जाएंगे वैसे वैसे लेते जाएंगे आइडिया. आइसोलेट नहीं करें, क्योंकि अचानक कुछ नहीं आएगा. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
And I know we are little late, but हम आए आज तो फिर पूरा बोल के ही जाएंगे. With the permission of with the Honorable Vice Chancellor, very important point with Dhiraj. There is आजकल lot of companies are focusing on ethics and integrity, your value systems.
True.
And I'm telling you, आपने कहीं भी कोई गलती करी, you'll be thrown out. Because companies nowadays are very focused about ethics and integrity. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम शॉर्टकट जाते हैं, कुछ भी करते हैं. छोटी सी बात दे दूंगा, sometimes you also you fudge the bills. There's an investigation which happens. So see, honestly speaking, these are things why I'm sharing, because I'm sure हम रोज तो नहीं मिलेंगे, लेकिन I'm sure down the line 5 years you will remember something was shared, something which is very important. Therefore, your value system, your integrity and ethics is very critical, because company watches you. उसी से आपका trust बढ़ जाएगा. वरना why everybody doesn't become a CEO? Everybody is from Harvard, Kellogg's, or somebody is from IIT. Why everybody doesn't become a CEO? Why everybody doesn't become a president? Why everybody doesn't become a director at that level? They still feel, no, this guy, because they feel that there is something, the trust is not there. And जब तक आप वो trust, and trust is a very small word, और इसको बनाने के लिए it takes years to develop a trust, और इसको खत्म करने के लिए it takes seconds. Thank you.
Yeah, any more questions? Yeah, great.
Sir, as the technology is growing day by day, and we are facing uncertainties too, and each and every one is going to face the real world. So, what are the techniques or upcoming technologies which one as a student should know so
So I think, again, great question. Not an easy answer. I think first thing I want to clarify. This question comes in my mind often, especially when I was a student and when we had industry people coming and speaking to all of us. हम बोलते यार ये जो बोल रहा है ये तो हमको पढ़ाया नहीं जा रहा. I have not heard about it. I don't know about it. That will always happen. So never undermine the education program that you're going through, number one. And I'll tell you why. Because in your academic program, your fundamentals are being cleared. And you can always grow on that fundamental. So if your fundamentals today, what you're learning, you could actually be learning C++, the basic language of coding or technology. If you're not strong on your fundamentals, you'll never be able to grow. So that's number one. So always take your program very, very seriously. Now, the latest technologies will always change. If I was having this session a month back, I would have a list of top 5 technologies which will be different versus what I'm having today. So if I tell you my top 5, I'll give you my top 5 upcoming technologies, but it may change 15 days down the line. So my request to all of you is that first build your fundamentals very, very strongly. Then find your own passion. So let's say, and especially in technology now allows you to develop so many different kinds of passion within technology. Like for example, me, I'm an engineer, I'm a tech engineer, but I have never done coding or I have never done technology development. I have done technology sales, I have done technology business development, I have done many things around technology, which obviously my technology experience and education helps me to do better. But I have always thought that I am a better human, I want to interact with people, that's how I'll grow. If I become a coder, I'll not be able to grow because, coding is often with yourself and all that. So I never thought that my personality is suitable for that. So I found my sweet spot. That's one. Now let's say I have an example, a colleague of mine in my college, actually a batchmate, fantastic student, very brilliant academically. Today he's running a company which is building dashboards or with all the data that comes, he's creating those dashboards. Now he understood that this is my calling. I want to become an entrepreneur, number one, and I want to get into this. I want to get into visualization of data, and he's doing very, very well. So I think first, as I said, fundamentals. Second, find your own calling, where you think that you're going to enjoy most. Now, iska answer be difficult. Like today I might enjoy something. Next year I might find something else that I'm going to find something very exciting. So this will change throughout your career, throughout your life. But at least get into that area where you find something of your interest. Now coming to the top 5 technology trends, and I think that's available everywhere. But in my list will be number 1 is of course AI. What people call as ABC, AI, blockchain, and cloud. The 4th will be IoT. Because again, what Sudhir also mentioned about so many examples, IoT is going to be very, very big. The 5th, there is a competition between 2, actually 3, which are like really latest technologies. One is crypto. Second is Meta. That's coming up in a big way. And which was the third? Web3. Now again, these are like very, very futuristic things. We don't have enough information. We don't have enough trainers in the country. But these are the things which have potential to disrupt a lot of technology in the coming years. The technologies might get disrupted themselves also. So ho sakta hai ki 6 mahine baad you will not hear about crypto. But I think these are the 3 which I'm sort of giving them the number 5th spot. And let's keep an eye ki kya hone wala hai. But I think definitely AI, blockchain, cloud, IoT are here to stay. The other aspect is that, with AI, it's not just being an AI engineer. With all these technologies, there are a lot of surround. For example, we were talking about data analysis. Now, AI is nothing without data. And data scientist is a very well-paid job, and there's a huge lack of good data scientists in the country. So you can always look at these opportunities also, that if you want to go in this field of AI, data is one of them. If you want to grow in the field of cloud security is another one. Cloud architecture is another one. So find your calling. So if you think that you are going to be a great security professional, yes, get into that. So that's what I would answer.
Maybe 30 seconds from my side, beta. See, as I mentioned, आप लोगों की knowledge आप हमसे काफ़ी advanced है because you are connected to the world. हम लोग तो थोड़ा 45 crossed. So what I mean to say is that, as Dhiraj mentioned, fundamentals, what you are, अगर आपके fundamentals strong नहीं है, अगर इमारत बुनियाद strong नहीं है, see what happens, हम लोग सिर्फ, लेकिन this will help you lot. Fundamentals, because everything goes down to fundamentals. और हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम लोग, we don't keep our fundamentals very strong. Therefore, it's very, very important that what you are being taught here, you have to create your fundamentals very, very strong. Doesn't mean you get 60% marks. You know, it really doesn't matter. But if you are strong fundamentals, then it will help you. In terms of technology, I wanted to talk about IoT. It is not about IoT, it's IIoT also, which is industrial IoT, which you're talking about. Because in large number of power sector, you know, SCADA systems, they're also using this IoT technology. Because IoT is a big, now, IoT mein one is the product development. Then there's the security part also, because there's a data transfer also. One important thing which I want to leave with you guys all, that we must also get into standards. You know, for example, there's a lot of IoT or, you know, when we talk about Zigbee standards, you know, stuff, you know, there are a lot of private organizations who have started these standards. Because when you learn the standards, for example, a battery safety standard, what does it mean, battery safety standard? There are IEC standards, IS standards. You have to understand how standards, what does a standard tell me if I'm testing a mobile phone for EMIMC, RF, SAR, specific absorption rate, because all these tests you all to do. So you also need to have an understanding of, if I am manufacturing and designing a product, is it safe also? So you also need, I would request many of you to also understand what are the standards, safety standards, emission standards, RF standards, SAR standards, to get into that also, because that will additionally keep you ahead of the game when you're actually going for interviews and stuff. Thank you.
Your second part of the question, that is what you should do. Let me tell you that. See, tools, techniques, irrespective of whatever the field it is, have a very short span. Whatever you learn today is not going to last beyond 2 years. Then how would you cope up? I say develop critical thinking. It's the thinking. See, what is the difference between a technician and an engineer? A technician is a very narrowly skilled person. He or she cannot look beyond that skill. You got to have that ability to critically analyze situation. That means you should have that ability to analyze situation, able to apply those, you know, concepts which you have learned. Remembering is not going to help you out. Our memory is very short. You probably don't remember what you studied in last semester. But if you call that metacognitive, that means question what you know. If you don't question what you know, you cannot develop your knowledge. And this is what will stay with you. Probably, I'm not from a computer science background. When they were talking about smart equipment, I could figure out the answer because I'm able to critically think about it. What it requires for a smart thing to happen. It has to sense itself. It has to feed back to something. So if you develop that, you will find yourself far better than anyone else. And you will fit yourself in any kind of a company. The brand of the institution probably would allow you inside the door. But to stay in the room, it's all your attitude and your hard work. Thereafter, the institution brands don't matter. All are same. Both of our guest speaker probably would vouch for it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thank you. Invite few more questions from this side. It's completely bereft of what's happening here. You are not part of the proceedings? Yeah, great. Please go ahead.
We get confused that which path we should
is of choice, not of the job now. Great, great, great. Yeah.
So it is very simple, and as I mentioned, मेरे पास हर सवाल का जवाब नहीं है. You can critique that also, but there has to be a constructive criticism. We also learn that. We also critique each other, but that's called constructive criticism. It's not कि अरे आपने बोला I'm not satisfied. But there's a way. Now let me give you an example. Simple example है. I have a choice of taking this. Multiple brands, 3 brands are in front. Bisleri is there, Aquafina is there. These are 3 water bottles which are in front of me, and everything is appealing. And इसमें water भी है. किसी ने बोला कि इसमें आपका TDS जो है इतना कम है, and you know इसमें हमने fortification कर रखी है. It is extra minerals. इसमें vitamin D भी डाला है. You know, now you are confused. Water to water. I mean, that's it. What I have to do. I think simplest way, this is what we do also in companies, and Dhiraj will also agree to that, is that we have multiple choices. And we can't boil the ocean. मुझे हर जगह नहीं जाना है. As a company, what's my strength? I will go into that area. If my strength is to sell noodles to this gathering, and I will do everything because I know I have a technology, my product is the best, and I have costing, I know I have the best talent. But if I don't have a competence to sell a pizza here, because I know it's going to be a bad pizza, it will not match the Pizza Hut. So I have to do my analysis. We call it SWOT analysis. And honestly speaking, there was a concept also of SWOT analysis. Normally you should do SWOT, but that also has been, you know, as we evolve, the theories are become obsolete. Nowadays, the Griffins, there's a book I'll share with you guys. If you take an online test on that, it says only focus on your strength. Forget about your weaknesses. So my simple question to answer is that you have multiple things all across. Determine what are our strengths. आपके limitations क्या है? आपके parents आपको allow करेंगे abroad जाने के लिए? मैं अभी opportunity बोलता हूँ. There's an opportunity in Chicago. Will you go to them tomorrow? She's saying sure. Go and ask your parents first. So that's what I'm saying. So your parents say you can go. Now there are limitations. Sometimes, you know, people choose decisions and go for jobs is not only about money. There are different things which you have to balance. And therefore, उसको देखते हुए, environment को देखते हुए, family को देखते हुए, money gains को देखते हुए, career path को देखते हुए, आप फिर decision लेते हैं. ये हर किसी के साथ है. It is with me also. It's everybody for that matter. Yeah, I had an opportunity. My boss told me, why don't you come to DC? And I will tell you, I'm not shying away. I can tell you what is the answer. I had my parents. My father is there. He's an old man, and my mother is also an old man. I could have gone to US. But that's okay. I had my priorities. I might have to compromise on my career path. Maybe my one step, that's okay. I'm happy. I don't regret, hey, why I didn't go. Because that is the decision I have taken. That's the decision conscious decision I have taken. So that's what you should do.
Thank you. Really, it's getting very interesting, but time doesn't allow us to continue it. Really. Thank you, both of you, from bottom of my heart. And I think both of them deserve great applause for what they have given us. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I think.
And I won't, because मेरे को आदत है बोलने की. So, but I think I must once again.
जब 500 स्टूडेंट सामने हो, किसको आदत नहीं होती बोलने?
नहीं, हम लोग young हो जाते हैं, जवान हो जाते हैं. So, first of all, both Dhiraj and me, we are so grateful to the Honorable Vice Chancellor and of course to the entire faculty and to others for giving us this opportunity. It's definitely an honor and privilege. We always love to interact with students. And I must say, I am extremely impressed with the kind of students you have here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The honor is all ours. And to show our appreciation for the efforts that you have taken, we would like to present you with a token of gratitude. I would like to request Dr. Aditya Sharma, Registrar, Teerthanker Mahaveer University, to kindly present the token of gratitude to Mr. Dhiraj Gyani. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to request Professor R.K. Dwivedi, Director and Principal, Faculty of Engineering and Computer Science, to present the token of gratitude to Mr. Sudhir Zutshi. Sorry. Thank you so much to the panelists. I would request you all to kindly take your seat in the audience, sir. While our guests are filling their own views about the university, I would like to ask the audience in just one word, did you enjoy the session? Yes. Then that has to come with a lot of energy. Did you enjoy the session? Yes. Great.
Do you want more of it? Then what did you enjoy? And don't fool us, huh? We have been through it. And if you don't want more, that means you are closing yourself to the outside world. And then you say, how do we adapt to the outside world? There is a contradiction completely.
I think just to close, I think what really I am taking back is I think the dedication of VC himself being here for so many hours, and the founders and all the senior faculty members. I think that shows the dedication that the faculty members and teachers have for all of you. So, and I don't see this very often. So I think you all should be very happy and should thank them for ensuring that you are learning. So thank you so much, sir.
Today's session has been quite enthralling, and I'm sure our students have gotten insights into the upcoming trends that may crop up. I would like to thank our guest speakers, our keynote speakers, Mr. Dhiraj Gyani and Mr. Sudhir Zutshi, for being a part of this program and sparing some valuable time out of their busy schedules for our students and for us. I also extend warm gratitude to Mr. Akshar Jain, Honorable Member Governing Body, Teerthanker Mahaveer University, Professor Raghuveer Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Aditya Sharma, Registrar, Professor R.K. Dwivedi, Principal, C-Society and FOE, for being a part of this event. I would also like to thank the organizing committee members for a smooth conduction of the event. I thank all the other directors, principals and heads from TMU colleges and departments and faculty members for being here. And a huge thank you to all our students who have made this session successful, fruitful, with their patience and understanding. Thank you so much to all. Now I would request all in the hall to kindly stand for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाहे